Welcome. Today is Tuesday, March the 25th, and we are going to tonight have a comedy debate. The resolution which we are working on tonight is Hobbits make the best heroes. Our first speaker is the third brother of the cousins Merry and Pippin. Now you probably didn't realize that there were three cousins. He was an elder brother and far wiser, and he stayed out of the story. Anyway, welcome Nisar, tonight's Prime Minister, to speak for 7 minutes.
Halflings, dwarves, wizards, and elves. On behalf of the government, thanks for being here. I'm going to present the motion that hobbits make the best heroes. So I'm going to spend the first 30 seconds to 1 minute defining the motion, and then of course the next 5 to 6 minutes talking about some of the points about the motion. So I want to define the motion. Who are hobbits? Hobbits are also known as halflings. They were an ancient mortal race who inhabited Middle-earth in J.R.R. Tolkien's novels, The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Also, according to the books and the subsequent movies that were made, they are closely related to human beings. Best, most inspiring are the qualities we can aspire to. Hero is a person who has distinguished courage and ability, admired for their brave deeds and noble qualities. So I think it's pretty clear by my definition of hero what we're going to talk about. And this topic is close to my heart because I'm the far distant cousin of the Baggins family. And as you can see by my height and the shape of my ear, I am a hobbit. So who else to better represent the hobbit community than myself? I want to make something very clear. The whole idea of hero is very, very unclear to society. By the end of my arguments, you would be very clear to you that to be a hero, you don't have to be someone from planet Kryptonite. You don't have to be someone flying around across the globe. You don't have to be someone stung by a spider and jump from one building to another. You don't have to be a hero. You don't have to have billions of dollars and work in the nights fighting crime in Gotham City to be a hero. So that's my definition. Hero is a normal person, a person who does not have any special skills or superpower. And the reason the hobbits relate to us humans, at the end of this my speech, you would be convinced that there's a hero among us all. You don't need to have separate, special skills. And I'm going to illustrate by telling you the three stories. The first story of Bilbo Baggins, the second is Frodo Baggins, and finally Frodo's three friends, Sam, Merry, and Pippin. So Bilbo Baggins lived in the Shire. He had no problems. He just was merry. He was happy. He just wanted to live. He just wanted to eat and live. And things changed for him. The path he chose was not the path that he wanted. He was once visited by Gandalf the wizard and the company of Thorin and the 13 dwarfs. And he was sort of pulled into the journey to go help the dwarfs reclaim their homeland by fighting the dragon Smaug. And that brings me the first point of the heroes. Like as a hero, you're sometimes the path you choose is not something you choose. Sometimes you take a path for the benefit of others, and Bilbo did that unknowingly. And throughout the journey, there are lots of incidents. Unfortunately, I don't have 7 minutes, and in Hobbitland, we are given 70 minutes for a debate, but I'm in human land right now, so I'll get to the story. Many scenarios where the dwarves were in trouble. There was a time with the trolls were about to eat all the dwarves, that the elves captured all the dwarves. And Bilbo...
What was it?
And Bilbo, using his wit and courage, saved them all. Now, throughout the journey, all the dwarves, especially the leader, doubted him. They thought he was not going to carry the journey. But there's this, if you've seen the movie, you remember there's a scene. He comes back and he tells, "I have a home. You don't have a home. I don't have superpowers, but I'll do whatever it takes." whatever I can to help you get your home. And that's the quality of a hero. Heroes fight the journey not for them, but for others. And throughout the journey, as you can see, there are many incidents where Bilbo Baggins, with his wit and even putting his life on the line for these dwarfs, was able to help the dwarfs. And there's a spoiler alert, the ones who have not seen the movie, Thorin dies. I'm sorry. Peter Jackson would be unhappy that I disclose this. And when Thorin the dwarf dies, the treasure was supposed to be split 1/14, but Bilbo did not take the treasure. He just took one chest of gold and one chest of silver, and when he went back home to the Shire, he gave it back. He distributed to among others. So that's heroes are compassionate, and they are not selfish. Then comes the story of Frodo Baggins, who is the nephew of Bilbo Baggins. His journey was also not something he chose. Bilbo, in his journey, came across a ring, which is also called the Precious. Now, this ring had the fate of the entire world at that time, and destroying this one ring would destroy the dark, evil Lord Sauron. And Frodo, even though it was not his journey, decided to go on the journey along with the help of other members from the Fellowship. Throughout the journey, he was tested. He was taken. He also, like Bilbo, didn't have any superpowers. He did not know to fight. He was separated from his group. But throughout the journey, he endured. He was not fighting a journey for himself or for the hobbits, but he was fighting a journey for the others, such as the dwarves and elves, so that their land can be in peace. And lastly, the story of Sam, who also accompanied Frodo, not because they wanted an adventure, but because they thought they had to help their friend. The final point I want to say, there's a hero. One of the other qualities of a hero is the hero never turns their back on their friends, of the people they care about. In conclusion, I've given you 3 stories, and the point I've been trying to make is, as humans, we all have heroic qualities, and it's sort of ridiculous to look up something from a comic book, superheroes with super skills, and aspire those qualities when the qualities from the Hobbits will definitely give you the inspiration you need. Qualities such as courage, qualities such as friendship, qualities such as compassion make the best hero. And those are my arguments, ladies and gentlemen. Hobbits make the best heroes. Thank you.
Thank you, Nisar. Your brothers would certainly be proud of you. Our next speaker is Dante, who is the leader of the opposition. Now, you may not realize this, but Dante is another alter ego of Superman. So, the man who is faster than a speeding bullet, Dante, welcome.
Citizens, I have a dream. I have a dream where a hero is not valued by the pointiness of his ears or the bare of his feet, and where a dwarf and an elf can legally wed without... Wait, that's another thing. But we strongly oppose the government's motion because we believe it undermines the foundation of a unified Middle Earth, and a unified Left Earth, and a unified Right Earth, and Earth General, Earth 616. All right, now for our arguments. Even though this resolution could be debated in one section, I'm going to divide it into 3 parts, taking a note for acclaimed director Peter Jackson. All right. First, I'm going to do some rebuttal, and then I'll put my 3 points. Great. Excellent. First of all, as a hero, as our little short friend here has pointed out, a hero doesn't have to be super to kick ass. Well, let me tell you about my friend. Kick ass. He kicks ass. He has no superpower. He was just a kid who decided to go out into the streets and go whoop, bah, whoop, and defeated the bad guys of the city he protects, whose name I don't remember. But that was awesome. And that was heroic. And you don't need to be a hobbit, and you don't need to be super. You just need to be kick ass. Then, for his next point about Bilbo and Frodo and Sam, oh, these little hobbits. Yes, of course, they are heroic, but are they the best heroes? Are they the best heroes? Look at Bilbo. Farm boy who threw like little stones at animals when he was a kid. Smoke pipe. I could relate to that. But does that make him a hero? Has he ever witnessed the death of his beloved and gone back in time to save her? Does he even know the true meaning of romance? He fell in love with this one elf who then turned out to totally not dig him. Is that heroic? Is that tragic? Is he the tragic hero? I don't think so. That was totally underplayed by Tolkien in an effort to put aside his little relationship with Sam. But anyway, next. Further. Hobbits are by definition Tolkien. I don't mean Tolkien, I mean tokens. They're token heroes. They are the heroes that you put in the movie or in whatever, in the halfling that you put there just so you can kick him and something bad happens to the guy who kicked him. They are quite literally the scapegoat of heroes. Anyway, that's it for my rebuttal. I don't have time to mirror with puny little arguments as I have cities to save, so I'll just go straight to my arguments. My arguments are simple. First of all, there's a very limited sample set. I mean, how many hobbits can you name off the top of your head? 3? Wait, did he say 4 or 5? I only remember 3. Anyway, out of these hobbits, how can they compare to thousands of other heroes? And I should know them because I'm in the Justice League. Now, you know what the UGO declared as their #1 hero? Jesus! Jesus! They're comparing hobbits to Jesus. I tell you, this is a debate you cannot win. Furthermore, I mean, let's pretend that was my first point. All right? First point, delivered strong and hitting. My second point is, even within the Lord of the Rings, there are plenty more examples of heroes. To say that hobbits are the best heroes is like saying that I'm the best high school cheerleader, which I was. But even though my super strength happened to be too much for those poor little cheerleaders, it doesn't mean that I was the best high school cheerleader. It means that I was once a cheerleader, just like the hobbits were once heroes. They weren't the best heroes. They just got some stuff done. I'm sure my partner will tell you more about that later. Right?
Absolutely.
Exactly. Next off. Oh yeah. Now in the Lord of the Rings, there were people that were heroing here and out and there, everywhere they went. It was hero here, hero that, hero this. Look at Gandalf. He gets a bunch of people to go fight a dragon, and while they're fighting a dragon, he goes off and fights some other guy. Like, come on. Like, he leaves, like, okay, you guys got this. I'm gonna go fight some other guy, because fighting one like faction at a time is not all what Gandalf does. That's heroic. That's multitasking. Multitasking is an important part of heroism. Wait, no, but still, that's. I'm just saying this is more heroic than the hobbits that just walk. Is that what they do? They walk. That's their superpower, right? Walking. Anyway, so. And then, fine, like, that's not even my biggest case. Look at Aragorn. Look at this guy. He was an orphan, and I appreciate him for that. Right? Because orphans are cool. But he went and was raised by like a not caring father. Look at Elrond. And then he raised Aragorn and got him to say, okay, you're gonna marry my daughter only when you unite these two kingdoms that are completely ruined. It's like, that's really high expectations in order to marry the woman he loves. And I mean, and you thought like your father-in-law was bad, but this is some hard stuff. But not only that, but he decided to spend most of his young life guarding the Shire, where the hobbits live. So this is a hero's hero. This is the hero that saved the hobbits. So if you have a hero's hero, how could that not be a better hero than the hero with the pointy ears and the tiny stature and bare feet? It seems like it has no merit. All right? And not to mention the guy does look like Jesus. Look at that! And he's been strongly compared to that. So again, going against some very tough opponents here. I mean, to conclude my second point, like, even the video game Battle for Middle-earth 2 had no hobbit heroes. It only had men, elves, and dwarves. I mean, if that doesn't tell you something, then what does? And finally, my third point is that heroes are what you believe in. You, citizens, with your belief, you give heroes the power they need to triumph over evil. And with your strength and your belief, you can decide that your heroes are what you want, not what the government tells you to be. Who tells them to be. Yeah, so if the government says that hobbits are the best heroes, you say no. You say heroes are the people that you believe in. Heroes are the people that would save the day for justice, for America, for where are we? Canada. For Canada. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Dante. Well, I see where Lex Luthor is coming from. Our next speaker is the government seconder. We have spared no expense to bring you Astragorn, a ranger from Gondor. Welcome, Astragorn.
As Astragorn, I refute the leader of the opposition. We're not here to speak about the unified left or the right Earth. We're here to speak about the Middle Earth and not about its unification. We're talking about heroes, the best heroes, Bilbo, Frodo, and Sam, as the Prime Minister articulated to us. Smoking a pipe. Now, how long do you spend smoking a pipe? 30 seconds? A minute? 2 minutes? Come on now. There's 86 seconds, 86,000 seconds in a day. So look at his small little database. Where's he coming from? Where do you get it? But no, they're not just token heroes. They're not scapegoats. Token heroes are people who live daily, 24/7 in life, versus Gandalf, who tackled a dragon at a point in time. So what? And then he went on to talk about Jesus, the number one hero. Well, Jesus is for 1.5 billion people. He forgot the Hindus, the Confucianists, the Negro tribal religions. I mean, what a biased approach. So, and then there's that Agor. Can only marry the daughter after he's united 2 kingdoms? Well, on Earth we got 250 kingdoms at least, 250 countries. Never mind all the mini-states and provinces within those countries, so that's not a hero. And how small were these kingdoms? Kuwait? Tiny Kuwait? My goodness. So, back to the Prime Minister and why the Hobbits are the best heroes. Because heroes are everybody that makes up life, just those individual people carrying on their lives. In the Shire, a shire is a county in England. So those are the people we need. They keep us on the right track. They move with the government when the government moves, and they correct the government, and they are just people living life. So yes, they are courageous, they have they're good friends, and they have compassion. Well, that's what a hero's about. Heroes aren't about all these villains. Now, as for my arguments, I studied a number of books on Tolkien and when he wrote The Hobbits, Lord of the Rings. It was before World War I. Now, what was going on in Tolkien's life? Well, he belonged to the Tea Club in the Barovian Society. And we all know what Barovians are, is barons, actually. Barons. I assert Tolkien had a good sense of humor. The Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit stories are a lighthearted way, a comical depiction of who we actually are worldwide, of what existed at the time before World War I. We're humans with hobbies and habits, because that's what makes us up. That's who we are on a daily basis, even today. It's nice to have your hobbies and habits. So, then I went on to find a book by Noble Smith, on the Shire. Well, we all have hobbit holes. He goes into discussing hobbit holes. Yeah, hobbit holes are relaxing. They're where we have our fun time. Then there's Schneider, making of the Middle Earth heroes. Well, that's all of us worldwide. It's the people in China, it's the people in India, you know, and anyone who's short. You know, you don't have to be tall. That's right, there's a lot of short people worldwide, so I assert that he was describing the population. And hobbits, yeah, they're a lot of fun. They're in movies, they're on radio, they're on the television, they're in art. So, hobbits are just something lighthearted, something comical, you know, in a very serious time. When there was international conflict, that's what Tolkien faced, international conflict, cultural upheavals, how many cultures are there worldwide? And, you know, he portrayed the population, I say, in a lighthearted manner. And that's who we are. So vote for the motion.
Thank you, Astragorn. You've made great strides for the government. Yes. Our final speaker was meant to be Bruce Wayne, but unfortunately he was called away about 15 minutes ago by the bat signal. So our very worthy substitute is our very own Wonder Woman, Margie.
Our wizard better be a little careful or his stick might get a little shortened, if you know what I mean. Ladies and gentlemen, if hobbits are your heroes, close your ears because it's going to get real now. We have a sort of a discussion here about hobbits. They get some stuff done, apparently sometimes reluctantly or without planning to. So true enough, as both my partner and to some extent the government have said, they get some stuff done. It's not necessarily the stuff they're supposed to do. They're not really closers. They're given, you know, very straightforward tasks. Bilbo, get the Arkenstone, give it to Thorin. Can he do that? No, he doesn't. He gets the Arkenstone, gives it to somebody else. Sort of starts a war. But, you know, we'll let that go for the time being. Anybody could make the mistake. Frodo, drop the ring into the volcano. Drop the ring into the volcano. Can't do it. Has to have somebody come bite his finger off in order to finish the quest. Now, a lot of theories have arisen over the years why hobbits seem to be rather incompetent at their fairly straightforward tasks. And most of us are coming down to saying it's basically the pipeweed. The Shire is the notorious drug cartel of Middle-earth. I mean, men, elves, they're just say no types. Dwarves, but if you're talking about hardcore dopedom, we're talking about the hobbits. And what we're looking at really here is Harold and Kumar go to Rivendell. And while they're sort of out of it a little bit and getting rescued time after time after time, they complain a lot. I'm hungry, this ring is so heavy, I can't quite go going. And it's like, you know, what are they doing? They're in the caves. Big scary Balrog comes after. They run away, leave an old man with a stick to try to fight the Balrog. They're not really all that heroic if you think about it. I mean, Gandalf, now man, heroic, as it was pointed out, multitasks, does multiple quests at a time. But, you know, it's a real questionable thing whether the hobbits are heroic or basically comedy relief. I mean, they're funny just standing there and silly when they're on their pipeweed. So, when you look at the characteristics of a hero, you think a hero, someone who really pulls themselves up by their bootstraps. Which is not go for hobbits, seeing as though they can't wear shoes. Certainly no boots and no bootstrapping. So it's a little, and they bring trouble wherever they go. Hobbits, what are we doing? We're rescuing the hobbits. Why are the asthmatics upset in Lake Town? Because Bilbo brought Smaug with him. I mean, it's just one trauma after another with all the other races of Middle-earth cleaning up the mess afterwards. But really, when we get right down to it, we're talking about the best heroes, the real heroes, in Middle-earth or elsewhere. It comes down to stubble. We're talking about manly, manly facial stubble. Aragorn, Boromir, Faramir, we're talking some serious stubble on these men. These are the heroes of Middle-earth. You know, I mean, ordinary people, which is what I guess we're all agreeing hobbits are, sure, they can act bravely or, God forbid, reluctantly to do things that must get done. But, you know, we all have to do unpleasant tasks like unplugging the toilet. That doesn't make us a hero. Taking the ring to Mordor or stealing the Arkenstone are just one of those unpleasant tasks. Heck, when you talk about Mordor, they were just skulking around the back door waiting for Aragorn to get that manly stubble out in front and confront Sauron about it. And who gets the best looking woman in the end? I mean, Rosie, she's cute for a hobbit, but she's no Arwen. So when we're talking about what makes a hero, we're talking about manly stubble. And if only the government had just redefined the motion slightly, they might have won, because I'm sure the hobbits make very good sandwiches. But in this case, they don't make great heroes. Thank you.
Thank you, Wonder Woman. Where's your ring thing? Oh, never mind. Okay.
Lasso of truth.
Our next speaker is Dante with his 2-minute summation. I was going to say Superman, but that's, by the way.
Forgot my glass. All right, boys and girls. I say we take the hobbits and let them go back to their hobbit holes and let the real heroes do the adventuring. See?
Absolutely.
Real heroes let their actions do the talking. And as my partner and myself have told you, this does not apply directly to the hobbits. Now, as I said, hobbits are very little. Not only very little in size, but also we have very little hobbits to work with. So, comparing them to all the heroes, not a very good idea. Not only that, but they're heavily shadowed by their friends. Friends with manly stubble and extremely virile qualities. So in that essence, yes, they are not heroes at all. Not the best heroes. They could be some heroes, they're not the best. And another point that was brought up is that they are always faithful to their friends, right? Mm-hmm. Yes? Well, was Frodo faithful when he backstabbed Sam by not dropping the ring? Was he faithful when... Was Bilbo faithful when he went around Thorin's back to give the ring to the Arkenstone to someone else? Just not cutting it out. So that point invalidated. And as my partner has stated, they're not closers. If you need the job done, leave it to a real hero. And finally, heroes are what you believe in. Heroes is the best hero is the hero in your heart. Mine might be Princess Celestia. Yours can be whatever. But the real hero is the hero in your heart. And to quote our speaker for tonight, this resolution shall not pass.
Thank you, Clark, or Dante. Our final speaker is the leader of the government, Nissar, to speak for the hobbits for the final 2 minutes.
Listening to the opposition was interesting. Lots of noise, no real points. We're watching a play at the Shire. So, I'll come back to the points that the opposition made. To be a hero, somebody in your family must have died. But, okay, that's a valid point. But isn't that selfishness? You're waiting for something bad to happen so you can go and save the world? No, that's a good point. The second thing is, Aragorn saved the hobbits, really. They're talking about kick-ass. Aragorn was getting his ass kicked. And he was about to die. And Frodo dropped the ring in the fire, saved everyone. Maybe that was forgotten. And, oh yeah, yes.
Source?
The Lord of the Rings Part 3. Return of the King. And of course, the hobbits are claimed to get stuff done. Yes, saving the world is just okay stuff. Yeah, it's saving the world is equal to cleaning your toilet or making sandwiches. Giving back the entire community of dwarves their homeland back, it's just stuff. Yes, it's just stuff. It's funny, I heard a lot of noise. And of course, getting the woman in the end, getting the beautiful woman in the end. Yes, Aragorn got the beautiful lady. But at the end, if you watch the movie, everyone, Aragorn, the lady, and everyone bowed in front of Frodo for saving their ass. There was not a point raised about courage. There was not a point raised about loyalty. Lots of noise. It was as if I went into Sauron's orc camp and all the orcs were talking. There was no point about compassion. There's no, to conclude the point, hobbits get stuff done. If the hobbits both the hobbits, Bilbo and Frodo, finish their tasks. Because of that, the world is free. And hey, they made movies that's worth millions of dollars and won 16 Oscars. Thanks to these two hobbits. Do you need any other proof, or do you want them to come back and make more noise? Please vote for this motion. Hobbits make the best heroes.
Thank you, Nassar. I would like now to introduce our adjudicator who will speak to you about this resolution.
Now I wish I'd paid more attention while I was reading the books and watched the movies. Also, I brought a subject matter expert with me who denied me his notes just before I was leaving. In any case, what is a novice? A novice is somebody that has more taste than talent or skills, but certainly I want to make the best education of a committee debate that you've heard. And my role, after all, is to pick a winner. This was a committee debate, which means that 50% of the points are allocated to the style, the rhetoric, the flair, the presence, and hopefully some humor. It was a committee debate. There was a lot of ideas back and forth, and some of them were quite funny. I enjoyed meeting a first cousin to a Hobbit family. I thought that was very clever, and to have that relationship right away. Let's talk about humor. I like your style very much, Dante. I had to start with I have a dream, and to unify the middle and the left and the right. I thought that was you had many elements, and I can give you my sheets afterwards. Many elements of humor in throughout your entire speech. You also made some puns on Tolkien, so Tolkien. Also, Astrida made us work because she talked about hobbies and habits, and that makes us hobbits. But you had to put 2 and 2 together. She had to make us work for it, but it was worth it. I like the fact that you referred to the Shire as the modern day New Zealand. I thought that was quite clever as well. What can I say? Content. I like the definition. It was done in a fairly serious manner for a comedy debate. I think it would have been some opportunities to add some humor during your 3 points, but they were very well presented, and certainly I felt that they were well supported as well. When Dante came in, he had some rebuttal and refutation. Very well done. They not as strong as I would have liked, but at least they were there. And then when you went into your arguments, you were prepared to show that they were not heroes, and that even within the Lord of the Rings there were other heroes. But for me, your best argument was the fact that there was no hobbits in the video game Battle of the Middle-earth. And this is why I would have liked my subject matter expert to confirm that for me. Margie, I like the fact that you had, in my opinion, a good balance between comedy and what a debate is. You talk about if hobbits are our heroes, it's almost by accident, and you clearly define what happened there, and certainly you define them as not closers. And to support your idea of their incompetence, the proof of their incompetence, you compare the Shire to a drug cartel and the pipeweed. I thought that was very, very funny. Now, as I was preparing for this adjudication, I was waiting for the second breakfast joke, but it was stolen from the debate by the speaker. So that was unfortunate, because I thought there was a good setup to be made there. What can I say? Teamwork. In a comedy debate, the teamwork is there to try to keep the humor going, and there was some elements that were carried. Certainly the virile and the manly approach was carried through teamwork. And the summation, unfortunately, for both sides, I felt, was kind of lacking. Nisar took that opportunity to do more refutation than really build his case for why hobbits make the best heroes. And for that reason, the points, which they don't matter anyway, that were calculated by my colleague Adi, are the government 35 and the opposition 65. And therefore, the motion is defeated and it goes to the opposition. Now, for the best speaker, it was difficult, but finally we came to the conclusion that the person who had the best combination of comedy and all the quality, all the arguments, the content, should win for the best speaker, and therefore Margie was named the best speaker.
Thank you very much, Danielle. And now for the popular vote. The popular vote was 11s to 1 for the opposition. Please come and accept the